Rico knows on TikTok. Rico knows on YouTube. Rico knows I'm the GOAT. Rico knows get it too. Rico knows gotta go. Rico knows on the road. Rico knows and I'm told. Rico knows you should know. Rico knows. Rico knows. Rico knows. Rico knows. Rico knows. Rico knows.
Hey, what up, TikTok? Shout out to you guys. Shout out to YouTube, Patreon, all you guys. Hey, man, it's Rico Knows here. It is the day after the fights. You guys know the deal. We do a results show, not to really stress or harp on all the results that we got as far as money's concerned, but more about the assessment of the fighters. So in the near future, I can come back and see these videos. If you guys ever do this on future cards, if you want to do your own research, all you have to do is go through the results playlist on Patreon or YouTube, and you can go through all the results and go, okay, what happened? What did Rico say the last time we saw this guy? What was the assessment post-fight, if you can't remember it? And then you'll do your own research. You'll be your own research agent and all that kind of stuff. So last night we had UFC 319. By and large, a pretty successful card for us. You know, it all depends on your approach and what it is. Some MVPs are better than others, is what I'll say. Let me go back to, let me just show you the whole fight card right here. So these are the results. We'll talk about all the numbers at the end, all this stuff. What you need to know is I created a new column and a new category down here. I have now put out 10 bets. 10 plays throughout the year that were Rico Knows best plays. They were my best plays on the card. And this particular card, it's right there, RK, and it was Lerone Murphy. Even though he was an underdog, I thought that was the best place to put your hard-earned money, right? So I've done that 10 times now this year. I have identified one particular fight, one particular play, and I've said this is the Rico Knows play of the night. Out of the 10 times I've done it, we've missed once. That means they're hitting at 90% when I give you a Rico Knows. And guess what? Sometimes it's an underdog. Let's see what it was the week before. It was G Matsumoto at minus 290. It was, where's the RK here? Right here. It was Andre Puliov at minus 166. It was Bogdan Guskov at plus 152. You just keep going back and looking for these RKs. It was right here. It was Nikolai Vitenikarov at plus 122. Sometimes it can be an underdog, a favorite, it doesn't matter. I'll tell you, this is where you have the best advantage on every card, and I'll put Rico Knows next to it. And what it is I'm trusting the eyeball test. I'm trusting my assessment, and I ain't worried about odds, public money, all this. No, I don't care about none of that. I just look at two individuals and say, this guy's winning because I trust my eyes. I trust my analysis and my ability to analyze fighters. And that's what you pay me for. That's why I'm here. So, we're 9-1 in those picks. Cool story, bro. Feels really good. Now, what's that ROI like? It's whatever you want it to be. How much do you trust me? How much do you believe in me? How much do you believe in yourself? But let's go talk about it. First fight of the night. Alibi Adaris versus Joseph Morales. Before the fight, I told you guys, I have no idea about these fighters. I put the favorite on the card at a minus 4 something or whatever it was. And then I said, I have no idea about these fighters. I'm going to learn about them in the fight. I did not have time to do research on them. The blind tailers, get out of here, bro. We don't like you guys anyways. Bounce. Bounce. We don't like you. The rest of you guys, you were watching the live stream with me. And as we were watching the live stream, they were doing the introductions. And during the introductions, I said, oh my goodness, this Joseph Morales guy sounds amazing. What? He sounds great. What are we talking about? I said, that guy sounds awesome. And then they bring out the Idris dude. He's from Kazakhstan. He's famous over there. He's got every muscle in the world. He's a spinning striker and all this. And I'm watching it. I'm within seconds. I tell the MVPs, hey, bro, that Morales dude is the real deal. He's a real MMA fighter. Somebody wrote in the comments, oh, Joseph Morales looks like he just woke up. Da, da, da. And I'm going, no. He looks crisp. He looks confident in the pocket. I like the way he's throwing. I like the way he grapples. Everything about him. He looked good. He looked like a UFC veteran against a regional fighter. And he won easily. And so there it is. Second round, triangle choke. He was choosing. It was pick your move day, bro. He's just picking whatever he wanted to do to this guy. This is so impressive. Loved everything I saw from this Alibi Idris dude. I'm sure he'll eventually get one of those fight cards when they're overseas somewhere and they can't, some of these fighters can't come to America. They got to get visas and stuff. That's why you see the guys getting multiple fights in a couple months or whatever. It's because they got a visa approved for 90 days. So they got to fight now, and then we'll see them again in 90 days or 4 days in one guy's case. But either way, we learned in this fight that Joseph Morales is not a punk. I think he's got veteran written all over him. And hopefully we get favorable matchup moving forward and they don't try to put him against one of the top 5 guys in the world. Like they've been accelerating all these bum-ass Bellator dudes. Next fight, Karine Silva versus Diana Barbosa. Diana Barbosa took this fight on short notice. She's a lot bigger, stronger. I thought Diana Barbosa fought well. I thought she represented herself well. Her combos were faster, strikes, everything looked great. And before the fight, I told you she doesn't fight well on her feet. That tells me Belvita's pretty damn good on her feet then, because Diana Barbosa was getting pieced up her last fight, and this fight, she had the advantage on the feet. And it was at some point I even said, hey, I don't think Karine Silva has a path to victory. This is terrible. She's not being able to implement what she does and how she does it. Now, they tell me they're both black belts. But if they're both black belts, I'm going to tell you Karine Silva is probably a better black belt. She was able to progress through dominant body positions, eventually get in a position where she could get a choke. So she does have that ability with her, that skill set. I just don't see somebody. She reminded me a lot of Jared Cannonier. And, I use that analogy. He wouldn't walk across the grass. I'm saying Karine Silva doesn't redline her body at all. Now, did she win this fight? Everybody's screaming out robbery, robbery, robbery. Look, man. If you win the second round and you win the third round, you won the fight. And I had her winning both those rounds. She did not win the first round. She was outstruck the first round. It looked gross or whatever. But she won the second round. And she nearly tapped this girl. I thought she got a tap, a submission. So I know a lot of people are online talking about robbery, whatever. We're on the right side of Robbie then. We'll take it. I told you, believe in Karine Silva. Winner by points. Winner by points. So if you went out there and made that prop, the method would have worked out perfectly for you. We got it right. Odds makers or casual fans saying she lost, I don't listen to them. Next fight, Edson Barbosa versus Dricus Close. Got this one right as well. We took an underdog here. It's just real simple for me. Edson Barbosa, he's a fitness model. Dude looks beautiful. Looks like an MMA fighter his whole life. But when you hear about all his notable wins, it's going to be a bunch of people who don't fight anymore. And when you see highlights of Edson Barbosa, you're going to see advertisements on his shorts, which hasn't been around since like 2014. This is not a guy that should be fighting anymore. He's fast twitch. He was explosive. Shouldn't be fighting anymore. He literally can't throw them things. He can't scrap. And then Dricus Close, well, this is just a hard-working blue-collar dude who's going to get in the pocket, not afraid to smash in a phone booth. It's all good. Just swing. And for those of you who don't know what a phone booth is, it's these booths that we used to walk into and make phone calls. True story. They were all over the street, everywhere. Outside of bars, constantly. Outside of gas stations. I know you guys don't understand, but we were there. We were there. Dricus Close throws hard, is strong, limited athletically. But he's tough enough, good enough to fight. And he went out there to bang, and he had the cardio to push. And Edson Barbosa is a shell of himself. Don't ever believe in the Edson Barbosa you used to know. Don't believe the highlights, none of that stuff. I called this. I had the courage to call it when a lot of other people didn't. A lot of other people assumed Edson Barbosa is going to come out here and style on him. And for the first minute and a half, that's what it looks like. That's not what it is, though. That's not the truth. You punch that guy once or twice, he starts looking like a rock'em sock'em robot. What does Edson Barbosa do wrong? He doesn't get off center line. Meaning, when he backs up from strikes, he goes straight back. He doesn't circle. You have to circle away from power hands, change angles, change levels, all kinds of shit if you want to be able to live in that pocket and make it out of there without getting hit. This dude just goes straight back, and he's not the only one. Shout out to Dricus Close. Shout out to us for getting it right. Felt pretty good. Feels really good when you get it right. And then the next fight is Chase Hooper and Alexander Hernandez. What did we see in this fight? Well, first and foremost, they made Chase Hooper a minus 400 favorite, forcing us to make him a lock because of the odds. I don't have to make him a lock. I could have made him a lean. Here's the thing. When you miss like that, you have to think to yourself, what did I do wrong in my analysis? Like, what did I do wrong? So what I did wrong in the analysis, I referenced it in the video. I said, look, man, Chase Hooper's beating old dudes. Grandfathers, Clay Guida, Jim Miller. They fed him senior citizens to build his confidence, and he went out there and pieced them up. But now he gets a younger guy, covered in muscles, with man strength, man muscles, not those, I'm a first-time dad, 24-year-old. You know, when you're 24 years old, you can barely pick up your spouse. You're not strong enough. You can't even hold her up. You can't be, you're like, man, how did they carry down the church steps and carry her over the threshold into the house? I don't care how fit you are at 24. You're not doing it, bro. You're just not that strong. 32? You got man muscles. And that was the difference in this fight, was there was a grown man out there trying to knock your block off. And there was Chase Hooper, who's a glorified jiu-jitsu nerd, doing spinning attacks over and over and over. He would throw a combo, then a spinning attack, combo, and a spinning attack. It was silly shit. It was embarrassing. I was frustrated. And look, when you watch this fight like this and you get knocked out right before the bell and all this, listen, man, Alexander Hernandez is not a good fighter. I don't care what anybody says. He is not a good fighter. And he still wins by knockout. And he's talking all that smack. I hope they give him somebody great. I hope they give him somebody and Vegas believes in him. That's not a good fighter. But Chase Hooper is even worse. Chase Hooper's a disgrace. That was a lock, by the way, and we missed. You got to own it sometimes. Bad assessment, or at least I didn't focus in enough on the fact that he was fighting nobodies to get his confidence and to look as good as he did. I do this thing. Vegas will make you buy or sell on a particular fighter at some point, and I call it selling when a fighter's high. And what that means is when Vegas is really high on a fighter over time, they got a couple of wins, maybe a football team, they get a couple of wins, and then you get to a certain point where you're like, we got to sell these guys. Vegas is so high on this guy. He's won 4 in a row. Look at that. The odds are finally flipped in his favor, and now we got to sell when it's that high. Like when you see a minus 400, you got to say, man, I'm jumping ship. You got to do it. And I didn't. And I got to apply that method more accurately and more consistently. So I apologize. It's life. Next fight. This one was very easy for me to call. And what it comes down to is Jessica Andrade is not the fighter you think she is. She looks washed. She looks old, slow, and then she goes out there in the third round and really starts getting aggressive. But too little, too late. You already lost the first 2 rounds. There's no piece of you that looked championship caliber. In the first 2 rounds, Lupi Godinez goes out there and doesn't even have to wrestle. She's just piecing you up, boxing you. Now, for Lupi, there is a problem here. She doesn't hit very hard, and she can't get a takedown. So if you don't have the ability to implement a takedown, 1 for 14 on takedowns, that's just crazy. And your whole skill set is wrestling. So now you're lucky you outstruck her, outwork her, but those 14 takedown attempts wear you out to the point where you can't fight good in the third round. And now it's just a tough one. Now we picked Lupi Godinez by points. We got it right. Because Jessica Andrade is not who she used to be. Former world champ, former this, that. I don't care. She used to fight for the title, be on main cards. None of that is real. She is an old, slow lady who bangs. Old, slow lady who bangs. Big deal. Lupi Godinez, still crisp, looking like she's a good boxer in the pocket, all that stuff. But she throws pillows for fists. She can land every combo in the world. It's not hurting anybody because she still fights like a girl. She is a girl. Remember, there are some of these female fighters that have the muscle mass of men. And then there's the ones that are still feminine and dainty. And they're all being faded out. Like they're all going away. If you are the feminine, dainty girl type, you are not going to be relevant in the UFC very, very soon. You got to look like a dude. You got to hate dudes. And maybe like other women. Like that's what you got to do. You got to have a lot of testosterone. You got to be shaving. If you want to be a tough girl in the UFC, you got to have facial hair. Like that's where I'm at on this thing. It's crazy. Shout out to them. Shout out to Lupi Godinez finding a way to win, but we're still not going to believe in her that much, though. Just couldn't believe in Jessica Andrade. Speaking of not believing in somebody, oh my God, there was not an easier fight in the world to call last night. Not an easier fight in the world to call. I told you guys the last time we saw Jared Mershart in the cage, he looked like a senior citizen. Bro, he looked like a senior citizen against Brad Tavares, who was the same age, and he made Brad Tavares look like a world-class athlete. So I said, we cannot believe in Jared Mershart at all. Don't believe this chance of him getting a submission. None of that is real. This guy is nothing. He should have left his gloves in the cage a year ago. Meaning he should have retired for you new UFC MMA fans. And Jared Mershart goes in here and looks even worse in this fight. He moved slow. He looked like he had back pain. He was barely, and I told you, the difference between Jared Mershart and everybody else is when he's done in the UFC, he's going to get put into his next home. He's not moving into a home. He's going to get put in one. And what I'm referring to is when you put your parents in a convalescent home, in a retirement home. Like sometimes your parents in their 50s, they're coherent. They can move. Your parents in their 50s and 60s, they can move into a retirement home, an over 55 community. But at about 80, when they start bumping into furniture and don't remember who you are, you got to put them in a home. That's the difference here. Jared Mershart is going to be put wherever he needs to go. He's not moving in, bro. He's not coherent. That is not a real fighter. So this was the easiest fight of all time. It was the lock of the night. It was a lock. I shouldn't say the lock of the night, but it was a lock. I believed in it. Now, unfortunately, I parlayed it with Hooper, but I'm just letting you know. There's no way he was going to win this fight. Now, Michel, we didn't learn anything from him in this fight. We know who he is. We know what he is. But that's it. Like, there's not really much else to him. He's a Polish guy who punches really hard, got some striking to him, and they gave him a senior citizen on the main card. We'll fade Jared Mershart every single... I don't know who Jared Mershart's going to fight next, but whoever it is, we're going to fade him hard. That is not a real fighter. Does he look like he's in shape? Yep. Is he kind of strong? Yep. He reminds me of a grandfather with a cigarette hanging out of his mouth, saying, "Here, let me change that radiator for you." That's what he reminds me of. It's fucking gross, bro. That guy can't. It's not a professional athlete. Next fight: Base Sangor, Suskunov, and then Eric Nolan. I'm gonna give an accurate description of Eric Nolan for you guys because I actually think Eric Nolan should get another UFC fight. Eric Nolan was in his debut. It was a short notice debut. He was fighting at 185 pounds when he usually fights at 170. He took it on a week's notice, and he had to fight this guy who's a world-class ass kicker from Russia, right? Okay, cool, got it. The kid from Russia, who's 9-0 with 8 knockouts in the first round, did not impress me as a 1,000 favorite. You're a minus 1,000 favorite, and you hit adversity. He was doing the stanky leg in the first round. You're taking shots from a guy who's not afraid to bang with you, and you take a shot from him, and you start doing the stanky leg in the first round. Wait till you fight a real 185-pounder. These guys out here, I can fight tomorrow, I can fight the next day. And he thinks he's creating a fan base. By the way, he was talking on the mic after this fight. He's very unlikable. Now, I don't give advice based upon emotion, but I'm telling you that this guy, fighters are going to train and line up to beat him. The only thing I see Suskunov that even has an advantage doing here is he's got a nice front kick. Yeah, he's going to get you another knockout with a front kick, a T kick to the obliques. What are you fighting Shedeur Sanders every day? No, and not everybody has an oblique injury. Like, this is not real. So you might have won by submission in the second round. I was not impressed. Not giving that kid 50K. And then just too arrogant talking. Didn't even acknowledge the fact that he made a mistake. Didn't acknowledge the fact that he underestimated his opponent and he was looking like he was out of sorts. Didn't acknowledge it once. Just talking that shit, smiling, laughing, not understanding that you're in a real scrap with somebody who's trying to chase a dream. And I think Eric Nolan deserves another chance to chase a dream. He's a former Marine fighter. I got a lot of respect for hand-to-hand combat instructors in the military, myself being one, right? I think that Eric Nolan did himself justice by going out there and scrapping. He only landed 24 strikes. He was throwing. He was banging. And he was trying to bring the fight to this guy. Now, unfortunately, he got kicked at some point, and it really hurt his knee and his leg and all that stuff. That's fine. I'm just telling you that Eric Nolan had the dog in him that I'm looking for from a fighter, and I hope he gets another chance. This other guy, Suskarov, if Vegas wants to make him a minus 800 every time, there'll be a spot to fade him. There really will. There will. I think he's got a limited skill set. Speaking of limited skill set, this is why I am who I am. Like, you got to know that I'm going to save you a tremendous amount of pain, money, stress, but you have to apply it, and you have to listen, and you just have to trust me. And I know that's hard. It's hard to build trust with somebody you just met. So for some of you newer MVPs or whatever, it's hard to build trust. And all I can tell you is I'm going to be here. I don't know if you're going to be here, but I'm going to be here every week, every month, every year. I'm not going anywhere. This is what I do. I'm going to be here. Now, you can either be here with me or you can fade away. I'm telling you this because in this particular fight, Kai Asakura was a minus 300 favorite, and he's fighting Tim Elliott, a journeyman in the UFC. And before the fight, I talked to you guys about this, and I wrote it clear as day on the fight card. Clear as I could. And it says it. Can't parlay Kai. You can't believe in Kai, so I can't put Kai here. I got to take Tim Elliott. Because Kai Asakura has done nothing to warrant a minus 300 line. He hasn't beat a single UFC fighter in his life. No, he's a prison one risen. It's risen, and I just combined two fight leagues, pride and risen together. He is a prison fighter. And he goes out there and he looks great in Asia, beating up a bunch of dudes, but you're in the big leagues now. This is not the CFL. You might be great in the CFL. You might be the best player on the Calgary Stampeders. You're not ready for UFC caliber fighters. So in his first fight, they gave him a title shot. They let him fight for the belt, which is silly, just because he's got some karate accolades or some shit, because he thinks he's Jet Li. That was dumb. We faded him then. And now here he's a minus 300 favorite. And I say, no, man. Tim Elliott is just a crafty dude. He's a little scrappy. He's just going to go out there and grapple. He's going to be a monkey. He's going to figure it out. And Tim Elliott's an awkward SOB, bro. And we got it right. And you guys got to know, when I'm hitting like that, it's not about did your parlay hit. Like stop that. I have no control over what you're doing on your phone. Listen to me. It's about assessment and analyzing. If you sat there and you didn't come to the same conclusion I did, and my analysis, is accurate, then you have to say to yourself, oh my God, I think that guy knows what he's doing. I got to trust that guy. It all comes back to trust. And some of you aren't listening, because I know there's people who put their hard-earned cash because they watch other people on YouTube, on Twitter, and they listen to those guys. Man, those guys don't track their results. Everything they say out of their mouth isn't held. They're not held accountable for what they say. Everything I've ever said on this microphone, in a video, for the MVPs for the last 2 years, the results are there. They're on the page, and they're never going away. We don't hide a miss. Don't believe the TikTok guys. Don't believe anybody telling you that things are deleted and hidden, and I don't admit this, and I can't handle it. Like, none of that's real. It's here, bro. I stand next to it. It's results driven. Because if you aren't transparent, then you lose credibility. But I'm here trying to save you from your own mistakes. Shout out to Tim Elliott. Found a way to win. Everybody keeps asking, well, where does Kai Asakura go now? Where does he go now? He goes to the prelim where he's belonged the whole time. If you're a regional fighter, you belong on the prelims until you earn your way up. I don't give a shit what organization you're a champ of. You could be a champ in the LFA. I don't care. Get your ass on the early prelim and prove it. And work your way up like everybody else. But getting a cut to the main card, your first two fights, this guy still doesn't have a single win on this side of the Pacific Ocean. This Japanese fighter has never flown past Hawaii and beat anyone. That's real. Easiest call. Felt good about it. Shout out to Tim Elliott. Way to come through in the clutch. Next fight. Now, this one was surgical. I talked to you guys about this, and I gave a very accurate explanation as to why I believe Michael Venom Page was going to beat Jared Cannonier. And I even used an analogy, and I'm so grateful for the MVPs. I saw you guys in the chat using the analogy. That lets me know that some of you guys were watching the fights. And when I say the chat, I'm talking about the Discord stage during the fights, right? So if you're an MVP watching this right now, and you're on Patreon, but you're not on the Discord stage, you're wrong. You're just wrong. That's all there is to it. Because we're MVPs in there, interacting, sharing their ideas, sharing their thoughts. It's a community. It's a family. We're all together watching it. And in that particular fight, I told you, Michael Venom Page is low volume. It's going to be scary believing in Michael Venom Page because he doesn't throw a lot. It's just one or two strikes. It's a lot of defense. It's a lot of feints. It's a lot of chess involved. He's just trying to move and trick you. He'll switch his feet, switch his stance, and he'll feint. And I said, anytime he does that, Jared Cannonier will have to change his strategy based on what he's reading. Jared Cannonier does not ever go balls to the wall. He does not ever redline himself. Jared Cannonier would never build a piece of furniture without reading the instructions. He's going to do everything the right way. It's dependable. It's sustainable. It's why he's 41 and looks that way. He does everything the right way. He would never walk on the grass. He's going to go find the sidewalk and walk all the way around and follow the path. He'll never get off the path to take a shortcut home. Never. And it's wonderful when you're doing a 5-round fight. It's wonderful when you're fighting people who aren't very good. You will come through in the clutch. And Jared Cannonier, that's him. It's too easy to call. So at this point, I go Michael Venom Page. He's going to do some flashy shit. He's going to have moments where he looks great. And the judges will be impressed with those moments. And the rest of the time, Jared Cannonier will have, and I said it just like this, he will have paralysis by analysis. He will not be able to throw anything because he will be too busy trying to analyze his opponent. And I'm going to give you guys some examples. When you fight an orthodox fighter, when you fight somebody who's right-handed and you're right-handed, there are certain reads you have and certain things you can do. But when your fighter switches stance, now you're fighting a southpaw fighter. Now they can do body kicks because their power leg is now in the rear and it leaves your rib cage open. So some orthodox fighters, when they see someone switch their stance, they will then switch their stance to mirror to make sure they don't get kicked in the body. It's a technique. It's a training method we do as a coach, as a fighter. It's what we do in the gym. We tell our fighters, all right, you're going to mirror your opponent. And you'll do drills like this where you're there, he'll switch his stance, you switch your stance. He'll switch his stance, you switch your stance. If he throws a low kick, you either check it or avoid it. So you stay out of range. We're training this stuff. Stay in the pocket. All right, kick coming, boom, you move. High guard. You see a jab coming, high guard for the next 2 strikes. High guard, get back, circle away from the power hand. Circle away from the... We have all these striking fundamentals we do. That's why we call out numbers. We call out numbers. We'll say, all right, let me see combo 1. And combo 1 will be a jab cross hook or 1, 2, 3. Those are the names of the punches. A 1 is a jab, a 2 is a cross, a 3 is a hook. And the reason you alternate them like that is because your hips are loading with each strike. So you're here, you throw that jab, your hips loaded to the left. You throw that cross, your hips loaded to the right. Now you throw the hook. Oh, by the way, the 4th one is the uppercut. And the whole time we're pivoting our feet, and it's this thing. It's called Dutch boxing. It's kickboxing. It's striking 101. And I'm bringing all this up because Jared Cannonier does all of this really well. And then Michael Venom Page, at one particular point in the fight, just moved forward and threw like 3 rabbit punches at his face, at his head. And Jared Cannonier is backing up, and he's like, what are these punches? And he gets knocked down. And he gets up right away. It didn't hurt. For Jared Cannonier, it didn't hurt, guys. Jared Cannonier just wanted to know, where was the 1, 2, 3? Why didn't you throw a jab across and then a hook? That's how it's fundamentally done. And instead, Michael Venom Page just went jab cross, jab cross, jab cross, jab cross. Well, what combo number is that? We don't train that at our gym. That's Jared Cannonier for you. He's a bookworm when it comes to MMA fighting. He's very structured. He's not out of pocket. He's not going to do anything extra. What was that? And that's how you beat Jared Cannonier. Analysis by paralysis. Won't close the distance and go. And if you know you're losing the fight, you're Jared Cannonier, you know you're losing the fight. Guess what Jared Cannonier won't do? He won't bite down on his mouthpiece and just start swinging and just start going for it. Nope. He'd rather lose and go watch film on it and keep his durability and keep his wits and his brain and his mind to get another fight in the next 4 months. This is a job for him. He's not chasing glory. He's not chasing stardom. He's not chasing championships. No, he's just consistently going to be here. I got to be ready for my next fight in 4 months. I'm not going to get myself hurt. You want me to go in there and throw 3 crosses in a row without putting my high guard up just in case? That's him. Oh, I would never do that. He will never leave his chin exposed. He would never. And when you know a fighter's not willing to do that, you got to go the other way. You got to believe in Michael Venom Page. So I told you guys Michael Venom Page by points. Love the way he strikes. Love the way he moves. And he might just be the best Bellator fighter in the world, right? All the Bellator fighters can't fight except for him. Obviously, I like my boy Michael Chandler, but that's a whole nother conversation because UFC didn't get him till after his prime. So now you just got an old dude who's willing to bang. Mentality's there. On the mic, he's there. But Michael Chandler's a little different. He just wants to go to war, and he don't care if he fights again for the rest of the year because he's gonna make $3 million on this fight. Let's go. Huge difference. So easy fight to call. Saw it coming a million miles away, and don't you ever forget, MVPs who are quoting the video while on the stage last night, there's a reason you guys are annual MVPs. There's a reason you guys are around all year. I appreciate you. Thank you so much. Next fight, Jeff Neal versus Carlos Prates. And I talked about this fight, and I thought Jeff Neal had a puncher's chance to be in this fight. I was wrong. I think Carlos Prates has some really unique striking angles and skills. The issue I have here is, once again, we're watching a guy who's relying on very, very explosive strikes to win a fight. There's nothing too structured to the way Carlos Prates fights. Now, he's very skinny, he's tall, he's long, and he's calling out certain fighters. I don't know who he's going to fight next. Michael Venom Page said he wanted to fight him. Michael Venom Page said, I'll fight you in Brazil here in September. That's crazy to me. But Prates winning with the spinning back elbow, what an incredible knockout. It was unfortunate. Jeff Neal, not a great striker. Good boxer, not a great striker, meaning he doesn't have all the weapons he needs. His kicks aren't great. He's not committed to them. He had to be very defensively sound, and he was to some extent, but how was he going to win this fight? You know, as I was watching, I was just like, damn, I'm devastated. This guy used to be crisp, fast, and slick, but it's just one of those guys who comes across as somebody who's going to come up short with every strike because he's not willing to really step into them. He's got to be careful. And he wants to throw it, but he doesn't quite have the gifts. He's not that physically gifted in that regard. So, to miss, it sucks because I understood a lot of people were on Prates, and I think knee-jerk reaction, like when I first saw it, I was on Prates as well. But as I do analysis, I go, okay, don't do that. Don't be biased. Let's go look at the tape. And I go watch the tape, and then I watch Prates getting drowned just because Ian Machado Gary was better than him, faster than him, more crisp than him, more professional than him. And if I see Ian Machado Gary doing that to you, I'm like, okay, well then you're really not that good. You only beat regional guys. And here he finally beats Jeff Neal, who's not just a regional guy, but I still think there's levels to this. I don't necessarily know if Carlos Prates is up there. Obviously, he's smoking a cigarette in the post-fight conference. Says it helps suppress his food, and that's how he cuts weight. Like, I get it, man. I don't. I get it, but I don't. So, shout out to Carlos Prates. He ends up beating Jeff Neal. Looks like a no-brainer, but I obviously wasn't on it. So, it was a brainer. Jeff Neal. I think this will be the last time we see Jeff Neal. Well, definitely, but from me picking him. I wonder who he fights next, but we'll see what his odds look like. I don't know. Next fight. If you haven't seen it yet, I posted a video on TikTok of my reaction to this fight when it went down, when it happened. This was the Rico Nose pick of the night. Remember, Rico Nose picks are at 90% this year across 10 cards at this point. We've made 10 Rico Nose bets so far. Just created it in the middle of the fight season. Just decided to tell you guys not all locks are equal. And I wanted a way, what it's really about, right? What the Rico Nose bet is really about is I wanted a way to tell you guys that I believe in an underdog. Like one underdog more than others. And I would never, I don't, by rule, make an underdog a lock. Because I don't want anybody to parlay an underdog. I think you're getting more than enough return on a plus money fight. Like, I just don't feel the need that you should be parlaying it with anything else. So there needed to be a way for me to tell MVPs, hey, this underdog is somebody I think is going to win the fight. It's not every fight card. It's not always an underdog. But at some point I have to be like, okay, I really, really trust my analysis and believe my eyes when I see these fighters. And that's that. That's how I feel about it. Now, to those of you who say this was a miss, some people said it was, I got a message telling me, Rico, you missed on this. No, you just don't know how to read the fight card. So I'll make it very clear to the MVPs. If I have Lerone Murphy right here in purple, once again, that's a value bet. We do not get surgical with value bets. Value bets, we don't go method, ever. We're just grateful to have the purple. We're good. We don't go method. What you see in parentheses here, this PTS, is what we call a value prop. And that is in this bottom corner here. It's a different selection. And value props hit at a worse rate than value bets. So what you're doing is, if you think Lerone Murphy's going to win the fight, you're already stuck at a 41% chance of him winning the fight. That is math. And I don't care about odds. I don't care about what other people say. I'm talking about math. If I make something purple, we're going to be right 41% of the time. Now, are you willing to take a plus 250 41% of the time? Think about that. You'd be rich. You'd make more money than you could ever imagine. But some of you don't have the courage to do that. So what about the 140? Well, there it is. 41% of the time. So why would you make it points and make it that much worse by 8%? That's your problem, not mine. Some MVPs are better than others. I can't control your phone. I can't control your app. I can't control what you do. It's up here. The fact that you don't know how to read the key, also not my problem. I'll give you an example. Michael Venom Page by points. Michael Venom Page money line is right here at 67%. By points was a black prop. That would have been 59%. Do you understand that that black prop by points is literally 20% more likely to happen, 25% more likely to happen than Lerone Murphy by points? So Michael Venom Page is 25% more likely to happen than Lerone Murphy by points. But the go the distance was a lock. And it went the distance, and that's only a 56%. I cannot make it any easier for you. This is fucking color-coded. This is a coloring book. This is a crayons, bro. If you're still struggling with this and how to read the chart, it's because you're not watching the videos. Because I talk you through it. We've taught the scheme, and we've been consistent in our application of the color scheme. See, these are black. Those are black. Those are 59% accurate. You go up here, these are locks. Those are 56. For whatever reason, the blacks hit more than the lock props. And I know one of you guys wrote me, and we had a crash out last night on the server. And he wrote and said, this was a lot. And he started screaming about Chase Hooper being a lot. You said it was a lot. And you idiots don't understand that that verbiage means 73.75% this year. Essentially 74% is what that means. So there's a 26% chance you're going to be wrong. If you can't live with those odds and live with those results, you're in the wrong profession. You're in the wrong hobby. If you're watching with me and I tell you, oh, this fight right here, you got a 75% chance to get it right. It's not a coin flip. It's 75%. And you miss, it's like you don't know math. It's like you can't read a chart. So enough of that. This was a Rico Knows bet. This was a 90% chance to hit because I don't miss Rico Knows bets. But Rico, he's a plus 125. I don't trust you. I don't believe you. Trust me. Believe me. I don't know, Rico. I watched all the hype. Aaron Pico's going to be an Olympian wrestler. Aaron Pico's a world-class boxer. Aaron Pico. Look, bro. Aaron Pico lost 4 fights in Bellator. I don't care how good of a fighter he is. I don't care what you say. And guess what, man? He looked fine in the cage. He looked aggressive. He looked strong. He looked fit. He was boxing well. He looked like he was doing everything right. But he's lost 4 fights in his life. In Bellator to other scrubs. And he's fighting Lerone Murphy, who's 16-0-1. Lerone Murphy's never lost. And he fights in the world's top organization. There's no way you would take an undefeated SEC team and not pick them if they were playing against Sunbelt. Somebody in the Sunbelt. Yep. Alabama versus South Florida. And you're getting Alabama as an underdog. That's what this was to me. Alabama, South Florida. And I'm going, bro, I understand South Florida's good. Oh, Rico, they got players. Oh my God, they're so good. Look at the It's Alabama, bro. It's an undefeated UFC fighter. He's ranked in the top 5 in the world. Just trust me. My God. And we got it right again. And I'm screaming Rico knows till the fucking till I'm blue in the face. Las Vegas is the only reason you believed in Aaron Pico. Las Vegas is the only reason, because if you watch tape and you understand the pedigree of fighters, you would say, oh, that guy hasn't earned the right to be here. Aaron Pico should be on the early prelim card and making light work of whoever he's fighting. If he's that good. We should see him on the early prelim card working his way up. Like Nurselton, like Loner Kavanaugh. There's an undefeated Australian fighter right now with all the accolades in the world. And Loner Kavanaugh, guess what? Not one main card yet. Just fighting on the early prelim. And he's making work of people. Joshua Van. Moving up from LFA all the way up. Got to go to contenders. Got to earn your keep. Do all this stuff. And then you get these spoiled, entitled champions from other fight leagues, and then they come over here and they don't want to work their way up. Even Rainer de Ritter worked his way up. Even Rainer de Ritter was fighting the Kevin Hollands of the world and lower to start off. Aaron Pico getting LaRon Murphy is stupid. And anybody not believing me is probably dumber than that. Congratulations, MVP. Shout out to you guys. I'm sure you won a ton of money. And if you didn't win a ton of money because you actually believed in the parlay instead, I'll bring you back to the chart. This parlay right here. Love it, man. It's what I wanted. I wanted it to happen 100 times over. And obviously, Michelle Olenjenko, whatever his name is, that dude came through in spades, right? But even this right here, it hits at 56%. Even the parlay hits at 55%. Even if you like it a lot, it's not a Rico Knows play. You have to figure out how you're going to allocate your resources. I can't do it for you. Next fight. Dricus Plessis versus Khamzat Chimaev. Before the fight, I told you guys this is a no-bet fight. I was 100% clear. I said, save your money. There's no reason to enjoy a good fight. It's two fighters. We trust their skill set. We know they're both good fighters. Leave it at that. There's no reason to do anything. And people have such a tendency to put juice on something that they don't need to. Just enjoy it. Just sit down and watch a decent fight, bro. You just won a ton of money on LaRon Murphy. All you got to do is relax. And I know some of you didn't listen. I know some of you, I can't imagine anybody was chasing, but some of you guys were out there and doing, oh, but Rico, you said, I said, if I have to choose a fighter to win, go back and watch it, bro. Go back and watch the video. I say, if I have to choose a fighter to win this, and I'm going to have to pick one, but I wouldn't bet a single dollar of my hard-earned money. But if I have to pick one, I want Dricus Plessis to win. It's good for the division. He's good on the mic. And I said, is he a great striker? No. Is he a good grappler? No. He doesn't really do anything good. He's awkward. But he's a big, strong guy, and he's a champ, and he's trustworthy. Listen to what I'm saying. I want him to win. Not that he's going to. Here's the advantages he has. None of that. And then I go and point out their fight history and who they fought. And I try to convince you Chimaev is going to struggle because he fought Gilbert Burns, went to decision, fought Kamaru Usman, went to decision. There's just no way a guy going to 3 rounds with a guy named Gilbert should be. That's all comedy. That's all cool. You should have shut the video off as soon as I said this is a no-bet fight. Or at least stop listening. Like, you guys don't understand. Sometimes you have to make supporting arguments for certain fighters. But if there's MVPs out there who've been around for the last 2 years, you guys got to know that I've made over, I think I've made 1,000 videos on the UFC in the last 2 years now. 1,000. And I'm not exaggerating. When you include results videos, prediction videos on both platforms, it's well over 1,000. And MVPs will tell you, hey, man, if you want to know which fight Rico likes the most or where you should put, you got to listen to him and you got to judge his his excitement level, his enthusiasm. Is he screaming and yelling, Kim is going to Virginia right now. We're going to put some money on it. We're touching this one. Go back and watch the video. That's all I talk about with Lerone Murphy fight. I don't mention anything like that about this main event. And if you can't follow that guidance, then that's on you, bro. But you got to own the results at that point. You got to own the reality of your life. Like, I'll put a 0 for me. But the reality is I'm good. I slept like a baby last night. So, it is what it is. Now, what do we see in this fight? Khamzat Chimaev is an incredible wrestler. We knew that going in. He's an incredible grappler. Did he show me he has cardio? Not at all. He was never pushed once to exert cardio. Did he punch hard? I don't give a shit about 529 significant strikes. I don't know if they know what significant means. 529 total strikes. But, I'm sorry, it was only 37 significant strikes. So 529 strikes landed. 37 of them were significant. That's a terrible number. He was knocking on a door. He got him in a crucifix and knocked on the door. Dricus du Plessis looked absolutely terrible for a couple reasons. Number one, if you're rolling like that with somebody, you know, as an instructor, if I send my guys to do a drill and I tell them to do a drill, sometimes my students will be like, hey, can you roll with us? Can you join in on the rotation? And I'll be like, sure. And I'll roll with them. And I notice right away they got holes in their game. You can pass their guards. You can take their back. You can do whatever you want. You can flip them over. And sometimes I get in the mount. I might do a mounted triangle. I might turn them over, run a half on them, whatever I'm doing. Like, you're just playing with them. You're just making them work and just give them a good workout. But they're getting dominated. That's exactly what Khamzat Chimaev did. He made it look like he was grappling with one of his students. I'm sure Khamzat Chimaev has had a harder training session than he had in that fight. Somebody in his gym fights better than Dricus du Plessis when it comes to grappling. 100%. Dricus is just... that was pathetic. That was absolutely embarrassing. And it's not good for the sport. It's not. If there's not going to be a rule where you can stand these guys up and let them bang, then at least be a devastating ground and pounder. Like, if you're going to roll with a guy and be in a dominant body position, the one thing Chimaev never did in that entire fight was implemented damage at any point. Like, you can be behind someone, riding them, rear naked, and you don't have to rear mount, and you don't even have to get a choke. You can just flatten them out, start pounding, come do those uppercuts underneath their posted arms. You can do so many different things, and he did none of it. None of it. Just conserved his energy and laid on top of him until he drowned him. And I guess that's a win. I wasn't impressed, but I get it. I get it. Du Plessis can't wrestle, so he just got absolutely embarrassed. I don't want to see a rematch. Not at all. It's going to be worse than Merab and Sugar in their rematch. Like, that is silly. There's a rematch in this particular fight, du Plessis versus Chimaev. I would sell my cars, plural, put it all on Chimaev, and then just go to bed early and don't even watch it. I'll wake up in the morning to a brand new car, like an upgrade, because this is not a competitive fight in any way. Dricus du Plessis will never be a champion again, as long as that guy has the belt. Nope, he'd have to beat somebody else, and he's gonna need somebody else, and it's gonna be the Rainer de Ritter type, the awkward dude who wants to grapple and wrestle and do some type of crafty jiu-jitsu. That's what's gonna be the problem there. But even then, I don't foresee it. So that's the fights. Hope you learned something. I kind of went over the chart already while I was talking about all the fights. Feel pretty good about it. Percentages are where they're at. Study them. Pay attention. What did we get right? What did we do wrong? That kind of deal. I'm pretty excited about it. So, had a good night. Overall, 8-4. That's 3 cards in a row, going 8-4 or 7-4. So, 66% overall on the money lines. Not terrible. Not great. We need to get back to these numbers over here. It can happen. Remember, we have football season starting this week. So I'll be busy with football. I'm all in on football. UFC will still get a card. I'll still do a video. I'll still live stream on Saturdays. Please don't ask me. Don't ask me. Your friends don't know, but Rico knows. Peace, y'all.